Today it's a great pleasure to welcome Alex Newby, who's joined Altrincham Football Club on loan from Colchester United until the start of 2024. Alex, you're a player that's well known to Altrincham Football Club fans, and you've come up against us a few times. So this is a move that I think works for you.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for me. Ticks a lot of the boxes that I was looking for in a loan move, and obviously after speaking to the manager, I couldn't be more eager to get going.
Your first appearance against Altrincham was back in 2017, Phil Parkinson and Neil Sorville's first season in charge at the club, and we came up against you for a Clitheroe side. We beat you 3-0 in the FA Trophy, and it was a fairly comfortable victory in the end, but that was a decent Clitheroe side.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of lads who've gone on to play at a decent level in that team, like me included. Obviously, Ollie, who's here now as well. I don't remember that much of the game, funnily enough, but I think obviously you were always a very good team, and the manager even then had the team playing in a distinctive way, like good football, and it was really difficult to play against.
So how did the move to Chorley come about?
I think at the time I was doing really well for Clitheroe, and there was quite a few teams like National League North level I could go to. Chorley, I knew a couple of the lads who were there, and they just seemed to be a bit more keen than the other teams to get me in. And I thought they're a good team. They've had good success in the couple of years before, been to the playoffs, and I think again it was just a move that made sense for me, location wise, everything.
And the first game that you played for Chorley against Altrincham was 2018-19 season. January of that season, we went to Victory Park and were 1-0 up at half-time through a Max Harrop goal. But Chorley turned it around, battered us in the second half and scored 4 goals. And you got the first and the third of those.
Yeah, I remember that game. I think I remember the ones that we won, but not the ones we lost. But yeah, I think that was the season where we got promoted from the National League North. So we were a really strong team at the time, and we were, seemed to be on a good run of momentum, and it just kept building week on week, and we ended up having a great season.
And in terms of that season, Chorley started like an absolute train, and it looked like you were going to win the league comfortably. But Stockport County came up on the rails, and eventually they pipped you. And there was a big game at Spennymoor, wasn't there?
Yeah. So from what I remember, us and Stockport were sort of neck and neck throughout the whole year, really. And then we beat them with 3 games to go of the season, and we had Spennymoor away the second to last game. I think if we would have won that, we'd have won the league, and we ended up conceding in the 94th minute. So that wasn't, we had to do it the hard way.
It was Glenn Taylor, wasn't it? I remember, headed from a corner.
Yeah.
So into the playoffs, and of course it was Altrincham that you came up against. Very, very tight game. We were leading through a Josh Hancock goal until 3 minutes from the end of the game, and then I think it was Josh Wilson has equalised from an Andy Teague header, if I remember, that was flicked on. But it went to extra time. It couldn't be separated, and then it went to penalties. And you won the penalty shootout, but things didn't get off to a very good start on a personal note.
So I missed my penalty in that shootout, but. Yeah, I think obviously, more than that, just happy for the team really to get through, and it wasn't really about me missing. I think as long as we got through, there was no real. That's all that mattered.
So on to the final, and Spennymoor at Victory Park again. Another very, very tight game. Again, it went to penalties. They were up at that end where the Spennymoor fans were, and the Altrincham fans had been the week before. But that one went a bit better for you personally.
Yeah, I think just in general, there was something about that year where we weren't necessarily playing well in these games, but we just had a really good team, a really good team spirit, and togetherness that I think we just thought that it was always going to work out in the end, and we ended up scoring, like you said, late at against Altrincham in that game, and then quite late in the Spennymoor game as well. Did it on pens both times, and I think that just summarised the season really, because it was that sort of belief that was the main thing that got us probably promoted.
and into the National League, and it was a really difficult start for Chorley. They never really got going in that particular season, and in the end were relegated in the COVID season.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult to go from being one of the biggest teams in the National League North in terms of getting promoted, and then sort of into the bigger level of the National League, which is obviously there's a lot of full-time teams. We were part-time at the time, so we were only training twice a week, and I think that it's probably made quite a difference in terms of like we were coming up against teams with big budgets every week, and we were like sort of the minnows of that league really at the time. But I think even personally, I think I did well enough, like on a personal note, like to prove that I could play at that level.
Well, you got your move to Rochdale after that season, and whilst you were at Chorley, three former Altrincham players, or two former Altrincham players, and one existing player that you played with, Josh O'Keefe, Scott Leather, who had 5 excellent years here, and of course Lewis Baines, who's in his second season now.
Yeah, all three really good lads. Like obviously, you can tell even from being here a short time that there's a lot of good lads in the squad, and like that this club produces. So yeah, hopefully, like I just can't wait to get really into the mix and get started.
Yeah, we've got the weekly court session going on as we're doing this interview, which you're not involved with this week because you've only just joined the club. But your time will come, Alex.
I think they tried to fine me before for something, but I've not even been given the fine sheet, so I don't know what is a fine.
You don't know what the rules of the game are, do you?
I can just play dumb for a bit, and
that's fair enough. So Rochdale Football League, great opportunity for a young player.
Yeah, I mean, it was my first sort of chance to go and play in the Football League, and I think, obviously it was my aim for a long time to get to that level, to be in the Football League, and obviously Rochdale came about pretty. It was, I knew sort of midway through the season with Chorley that I was going to be going there. I'd spoken to the manager quite a lot, and I really liked what he was doing there. Brian Murphy, he's now at Man City, I believe, but he was playing a really nice, good, exciting brand of football there, and that was a great period of my career. I think I went there, hit the ground running, and ended up having a good season personally, even though we got relegated.
Yeah, it's been difficult times for Rochdale in recent years. There've been a little bit of a downward incline, but started this season after a bit of a tricky start quite well. Yeah,
I know. Obviously, they've got a lot of new faces there from when I was there. I know Jim McNulty, the manager. I've always said he's going to be a great manager one day, and he's obviously got them playing a good brand of football, and they're getting results, and it seems to be a lot more positive now there.
What would you say is the main difference between National League football and EFL2?
I can't see too much difference in terms of like there's a lot of teams with quality. Like every team's maybe a little bit of organisation. I think in League Two, teams are usually very organised and very sort of like steady defensively, if you know what I mean. Like you see a bit more like wild results in the National League, I'd say, where there's sometimes like teams can just, for whatever reason, just concede like 4 or 5 goals, whereas it can happen at any level, I suppose, but maybe that's just from my personal experience. Like I think teams seem a little bit more organised at League Two level, but there's no difference in quality and like physical anything like that. Like I think it's very, very small differences.
So off to Colchester, geographically that's a long way away from home from a Barovian lad.
Yeah.
So what's the experience been like down in Essex?
I mean, it's been up and down for me, to be honest. We had 3 different managers last year, which wasn't ideal. Obviously I've gone there hoping for things to maybe go a bit differently, and for whatever reason it's not worked out at this moment, but that's not to say that it can't change in the future. And obviously I wish the club all the best until January anyway, because it's a great club. There's a lot of good people there, and I'm sure they'll start picking up points and fly up the league.
And when did you first learn of Altrincham's interest in bringing you to the J. Davidson Stadium?
It was probably late last week, I'd say, where my agent just told me that obviously Altrincham were interested, and spoke to the manager. Like, obviously spoke to my brother who was there last year, so obviously got a bit of information off them. And yeah, just as soon as I spoke to the manager, I didn't want to. That's all I wanted to. The only place I wanted to come, because it was just everything ticking all the boxes for me at this stage of my career, and what I sort of feel like I need now, and obviously hopefully doing the same for the manager and the staff.
Yeah, you're the twin of Elliot, who's had 2 successful spells here, particularly the one last season. Not too many twins played for Altrincham Football Club. The Lugsdons did about 20 years ago. Apart from that, I can't really remember any. But what did Elliot say about his time here last year?
Main thing for me was the style of play. Obviously, playing with wingers, which is something that not many teams do nowadays. So that was the main thing, and then obviously the people, the manager, like the way he wants to play, like all of that was just like factored in. And this seems like the best fit for me with what I need at this moment.
And how would you describe yourself in terms of your best position, or the different positions that you can play in? Because you're not the easiest player to categorise, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think I'm quite versatile, where I can play off either wing or even down the middle as like a 10. But I think for me, wide's probably my best position. That's probably where I've had the most success in my career, playing off the right or off the left. So yeah, I'd say that's probably my best position. And obviously, with what I can bring to the team, I'd like to think I've scored goals everywhere I've been in my career, really, and had a decent enough goals return. I'd like to think I'm quite a positive player who can excite people. Bring a bit of flair, bring a bit of like something different, possibly to the team. And
ready to hit the ground running against Ebbsfleet on Saturday?
Yeah, excited for it already, because I mean, I know we've played them Colchester in pre-season. I know they're a good side. Which there's a lot of good sides in this league, but I think we've been working outside on things, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think we can give them a lot of problems.
And with you being with the club until early in 2024, that gives you a really good opportunity to establish yourself and create a bit of a good track record here.
Yeah, I mean, it's ideal for me, because you don't want to be going somewhere for a month and then you want, especially for me, because I've not really played that much this season. I want to have a nice run of games and get a bit of momentum, bit of consistency. Like, that's the main thing for me. So I think the length of the loan's ideal for me.
Okay, well, Alex Newby, welcome to Altrincham Football Club. I know the fans are really looking forward to seeing you in the red and white stripes of Alty, and all the best for your time here.
Thanks very much. Cheers.